As in, if the Twitter committee does not do its job, then the final word on this, will be with the government of India.
I'll be very clear that these rules are not designed for company A or company B. It is essentially, I repeat again, our goal and our objective is to partner with every internet intermediary with the ultimate goal that the internet, the cyberspace, is a space where 120 crore Indians can safely come and go about the internet doing what they do. So I think it's very important to understand that this is not adversarial for any platform. These are do's and don'ts. These are rules that platforms must follow in India if they are to maintain the status of being an intermediary. An intermediary in India, under Indian law, under the IT Act, as a special protection for those who are intermediaries under Section 79, because they are immune from prosecution for any content on their platform. Every platform has the choice of whether they want to choose to be an intermediary or whether they can choose not to be an intermediary and just carry content and be responsible for the content. If they want to be an intermediary, these are the rules and regulations that the government of India has specified. And frankly, these rules and regulations apply to any platform regardless of who their owner is, what the ideology of the owner is, or what the ideology of the users of the platform are.
Yeah.
These are rules to ensure that the internet in India, and this is our duty to the digital Nagariks of India, that the internet in India is always safe, trusted.
I have no doubt.
Like I said, accountable.
I have no doubt. But
citizens.
early last year, when this so-called farmers' agitation happened, Rajeev, which I believe wasn't really a farmers' agitation, there was a lot of Khalistan propaganda, which were allowed. At that point, the Ministry for Electronics and IT, your ministry specifically, had asked Twitter to delete accounts which were flagged by security agencies as accounts of Khalistan sympathizers or backed by Pakistan, which were spreading provocative content, and they were not taken down completely. And there's been this up and down battle all the time, Oh, should it be taken down? It won't be taken down. And I know it's frustrating, to deal with these companies. They have a huge bureaucracy. There was even a hashtag about Modi planning farmer genocide and enabling violence in 2021. Twitter let it happen. Twitter let it happen. Will this kind of stuff be allowed in the future?
The rules in the new amended IT rules, Arnab, are very, very clear on the issue of misinformation. The rules cast an absolute unambiguous obligation on intermediaries, not on the media companies that report this, but on the intermediaries that, in a sense, viralize those stories, wittingly or unwittingly. The obligation on the intermediaries is that if there is any misinformation, patently false, misleading, they have to take that content down. If they don't take the content down, they still have the option of having content reported to them and having 72 hours to take the content down. The time for ambiguity on content that is harmful to citizens, that is misleading, that is insightful, there is no more ambiguity after these rules. The intermediary, if they choose to be an intermediary, will have to follow these rules. And I have already had a meeting with all the intermediaries today. They're very comfortable with this partnership model. And I've explained to them in extreme detail that this is not an adversarial challenge to their authority or adversarial challenge to their turf. This is about the government and platforms that are serving Indian citizens working together to make sure that the internet is safe and trusted and exempt from and is excluding all of this content that is harmful to Indian citizens and to the internet at large. So I think that era of intermediaries ducking and weaving on the issue of fake information, insightful information is over, and we are now in these new amended IT rules which cast an unambiguous obligation on intermediaries to play their part in making the internet safe.
Can they say we agree with this, but see you in court? You know, the approach of the social media companies has always been, to take refuge under the legal process and to say, well, we respect it. Suppose they disagree with the decisions of the government-appointed committee and say, we don't agree. You are calling this Chinese propaganda. I don't think it's Chinese propaganda. It's my right to free expression. We'll see you in court and fight you under Article 19(1)(a). Can they do that?
No, look, I want to make clear again, Arnab. The 9 conditions under Rule 3(1)(b) are very specifically laid out in terms of what kind of content they are responsible for ensuring their platforms don't carry. There is nothing general, there is nothing vague, there is no word, we have even dropped the word defamatory, which was there in the earlier draft of the bill. We have dropped the word defamatory. Defamation is something that the judicial process will discover and establish or not. So therefore, the 9 conditions that the intermediaries have to meet in terms of the nature of the content that they have on their platforms, or the nature of the content they cannot have on their platforms, that they have to safeguard against, that they have to enforce their own rules and guidelines, is absolutely unambiguous. There is nothing vague about it at all. If any intermediary chooses to not follow the rules, it's completely up to them. This is their choice. They lose the status of being an intermediary almost immediately. And of course, they have the right. We are a democracy. We are a country of a robust judicial system. They are absolutely welcome to and have the right, whether they are an American company or an Indian company, they have the right to go to court and seek justice for what they believe is unfair or wrong. But the facts, the layout of this rules is the consequence of not following the rules is very clear. If you don't follow the rules, you lose the intermediary status. You lose the intermediary status. Under Section 79, you no longer have protection against prosecution for any content on your platform.
Do you worry about this, the sort of the Western and Latvian media narrative on this? We had a build-up to it. I mean, let's be very clear. Even these companies have played a role in inciting a lot of people in the media who've gone on to say that the Indian government controls content moderation decisions. You know their favorites, Al Jazeera and the others. They say this is giving veto power to the government. They made it an attack on free speech. Is that over? Is that over, or could that resurrect itself sometime in the future? If a fight happens between both sides over any key decision.
No, look. For the first time ever, it is embedded in the rules that the constitutional rights of every Indian citizen must be respected by every platform, even if they're a foreign platform. It is there explicitly in the rules for the first time ever. We have said Article 14, Article 19 and Article 21, the right to non-discrimination, the right to free speech and the right to privacy and life cannot be violated by any platform. So the government is the trustee, the government under Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is the trustee of these fundamental rights. So we don't need any foreign platform or a foreign media house or indeed their friends in Delhi telling us about protecting constitutional rights about Indian citizens. We consider it our duty. But we also consider it our duty to deliver to the Indian digital Nagrik a safe and trusted internet. We also consider it our duty to the digital Nagrik to deliver accountability relationship between big tech platforms and the Indian citizen. And the rules are meant to do that. The Grievance appellate committee that is being mischaracterized by some vested interests as a power grab is absolutely anything but that. The Grievance appellate committee is an appellate mechanism in the event the grievance process that we have put into place, which is a voluntary grievance and redressal process that the industry has, fails or breaks down. And the reason I say this is, one of the problems we have noticed after May 2021, between May 2021 and today, is that many platforms have just naam ke vaste for just optics, appointed a grievance officer, but are doing very little to address the grievances of the consumers that they serve, make money from, and monetize. So that, we believe, is an unacceptable situation. Every Indian digital Nagrik who is working off or is using a service or buying a product or using a product of a digital platform or intermediary must have his or her grievance 100% addressed. The Grievance Appellate Committee is simply an appellate body that sits in the event a platform does not address the grievance of a citizen. And I have said this very clearly, repeatedly. As a matter of fact, these IT rules have taken an additional 3 months to notify, only because the ministry and the government waited 3 months on the industry to come with a self-regulatory model on the Grievance Appellate Committee. This issue came up during public consultations. I offered on behalf of the government that if the industry came with a self-regulatory model of grievance redressal, we would be more than happy to incorporate that in the IT rules. I waited for 2.5 months to 3 months, waiting for the industry to come with a response. They did not. And so we had to go with the Grievance Appellate Committee.
Which means there is a standoff.
Even today, Arnab, I have told them as we...
Which means there is a
even
standoff.
Today, Arnab,
I'm sorry, I was saying that which means there's a standoff. You have met them before you are a powerful minister, they will not oppose you, but they are not comfortable yet. I mean, after all, in just I think just this month, or was it this month, when Twitter challenged the confidentiality clause in the IT rules and they went to court about it, they said, you're not giving us information on why the account is blocked. So there is I'm not saying the trust deficit, I'm saying there's a sort of uneasy situation right now. When you say you've sat with them, they understand it's all happening, are they really comfortable, or is this just a lull before a bigger storm?
No, Arnab, 2 points here. One is on the Grievance Appellate Committee and the mischaracterization by some people that this is the power grab or a content grab by the government. I just wanted to clarify that that is not the case. Even today I mentioned to them that if the industry was forthcoming with a self-regulatory model to deal with grievance appellate situations, the government is happy to incorporate that in the rules and remove the Grievance Appellate Committee. So that offer still stands. We waited on the industry for 3 months. They did not come with a solution. And so we had to go ahead and protect the digital Nagriks with the Grievance Appellate Committee. In terms of the standoff, I really don't believe that it is in anybody's interest to characterize the relationship between government and intermediaries and the citizens and Nagriks as adversarial. We are 3 important stakeholders of the Indian internet. We all want the same end goal. We want the internet to be a place where good abounds and the bad is on the back foot. We want the internet to be a place which creates more and more opportunities in the digital economy for investments and jobs. We want the internet to be a place where every Indian citizen is empowered. Remember one thing, Arnab, we are the largest connected democracy in the world, and by 25-26, we will be one of the largest connected nations in the world. So we want this internet. This is not a small internet. This is going to be one of the biggest internet cyberspaces in the world. So we want this to be a partnership between the government and the industry and the digital Nagriks to make sure that our common goal of a good, open, safe and trusted and accountable internet is what we get and we deliver to our Nagriks and businesses and startups.
I personally think it's excellent that we are using that leverage. And we absolutely should. I'm just a little skeptical about whether these social media platforms will comply. I just feel that I believe they don't respect our national security as much as they should. Yes.
No, look, I don't necessarily want to persuade anybody to start believing what I believe or seeing the future as I see it or as the Prime Minister sees it. That is not our job. But we certainly will do our best to advocate and evangelize the benefits of working together in partnership. Where people still refuse to see the reason and refuse to follow the rules and laws, the consequences, as I outlined, follow. That is a natural consequence of not following the rules and the laws.
Truly. One more area I just wanted to pick on with you, Mr. Chandrasekhar, is the misuse of monopolistic positions by companies like Google, for example, to dictate terms and conditions which favor it. I'm talking specifically about the advertising issue. We, for example, news publishers across India, across the world, we spend money, we employ people, we have huge capital and workforce expenses. But we receive a tiny fraction of advertising from these companies like Google. In fact, the revenue to news publications by Google has not been challenged in India yet. In Australia, passed laws back in 2021 that required Google and Facebook to pay for news. But in India, which is, after all, the news media is the cornerstone of a healthy democracy, it's a completely one-sided relationship. Are you looking at it? Why aren't you looking at it closely enough? Are you thinking about it, Mr. Chandrasekhar? You have enough exposure to both technology and the news business.
No, so Arnab, I think you haven't been following me closely enough, and I would encourage you to do follow my statements and my views on things, on policy making. I have already said, and I said it on record about a few months ago, that I believe there is a need for a new legislative framework, and the government of India today is working on a Digital India Act which will replace the IT Act, and that will, of course, as is the specified norm laid down by our Honorable Prime Minister, it will go through extensive public consultation with all the stakeholders in the tech space and the internet space. One of the areas that the DIA certainly will look at is this issue of monetization of content online, and whether there is an imbalance between those who create the content and those who monetize the content. So I think this is an issue that we understand very well, is an issue that needs to be talked through, debated, and a formulation or a framework that is seen as fair, win-win. And it is particularly important in India, Arnab, not just because of the news genre. India is increasingly becoming a highly creative space where many young Indians are creating content startups, and all they have right now the only way they have to monetize their content is to go to Insta Reels or YouTube videos, and the monetization of all that is usually very one-sided because of the demand-supply imbalance. So I think it is an area that is certainly worth having a debate and discourse around. It is certainly important from our own national interest point of view, because there are hundreds and thousands and lakhs and crores of young Indians that are going to be in the creative industry, are in the creative industry, and will continue to be in the creative industry and continue to expand the boundaries and genres of the content that they come up with. And as the devices get more powerful, as post-processing software get much more powerful and easy and intuitive to use, every person is essentially becoming a producer, star, actor, scriptwriter, and generating content. You know the way OTT has transformed the film industry. We can safely assume that these new devices and these new technologies is going to transform even deeper the creative content industry in India, and allow India to really create content for the whole world. And so therefore, given all of that opportunity, I think it's worth a relook, and it's certainly worth a deep look at the economics and the dynamics currently that are in place, and the kind of economics and dynamics that we need going forward to make this.
Do you have a timeline in mind there, Mr. Chandrasekhar? Because do you have a timeline in mind? Things are going so fast, and it's really what we are talking about. I was at a meeting recently, and people are talking about the survival of news publications being at stake because of this arbitrary distribution of revenue by Google. You have a timeline in mind? Is there something the news industry can do? Petition you, perhaps become party to the decision-making process in any way?
Obviously my timeline is not aligned to the news industry's economic dynamics, but I can certainly say this, that we have done significant amounts of work. The Prime Minister has made it absolutely clear that these laws that we are bringing, these new laws, whether the Digital Personal Data Protection Law or the Digital India Act, are laws that have to have a life of the next decade, because it's India decade for the next 10 years. And therefore, we will go through this very carefully, very sure-footedly, with a lot of consultation from our stakeholders, whether they're consumers, whether they're lawyers, whether they're judges, whether they're content creators, and indeed the industry. So I don't want to put ourselves under pressure with an artificial timeline, but there is a clear process that we see. And I don't see anything wrong if I predict that we will have a Digital India Act for discussion at least by early 2023.
That's fantastic. My last question to you. You have been a very strong votary of national security in every way. You've come from a forces family yourself. Mr. Chandrasekhar, my last question to you is on the national security angle. Now, of course, are we vulnerable from an IT point of view? And I'm not just talking from the point of view of what you've done. This is what you're doing today, I believe will have a huge impact long term in terms of stopping these psycho-ops, etc. But I'm talking about more fundamental things like Chinese influence, for example, vulnerability to other sovereign nations. From a national security perspective, what more needs to be done to make sure that the spread of our digital, digital network at no point is used by our enemies to harm our national security?
Look, Arnab, I mean, obviously, I have to tell you that this is to make sure our internet is safe, our tech ecosystem is safe and trusted. These are all very significantly high priorities that the Prime Minister has laid down for the government as a whole. That tech is in various different ministries. Tech regulation and tech policy making is across various ministries. And the whole issue of infrastructure, all of that is also across various ministries. But there is a clear sense of mission, there's a clear sense of purpose, and there are clear objectives that we today as a nation are on, in a sense, we are really at an inflection point, and we are growing our tech opportunity significantly, whether it's electronics, semiconductors, IT, AI, blockchain, Web 3.0, high performance computing, all of those areas, the world is accelerating, we are accelerating. So we understand that the underlying need to keep our system secure, our internet secure and safe, all these are also important, adjacent, parallelly operating priorities. So I think we are aware of that. I don't want to talk too much in detail about this in an interview, but I can assure through you, our countrymen and your viewers, that our Prime Minister is completely focused on this mission of $1 trillion digital economy, and his government is working very hard to fulfill his goals. And I think all of the things that need to be done for that, we are doing, and we will continue to do.
Well, to wrap it up, viewers, this has been fairly explanatory by Rajeev Chandrasekhar. I'd only wrap up by saying that what it means for us, I mean, for me as a broadcaster here, is that if you wish to, and if you have a problem with what Twitter is doing or Facebook is doing or whatever these intermediaries are doing, the citizen has, as Rajeev always says, the digital Nagrik has a way, a method, a structure through which he can question them, if not take them on. So I think that's a great move. It empowers the citizen a lot. And Rajeev, thank you very much. You look extremely focused on these changes, and look forward to talking to you more about changes in India's digital environment. Thank you. From a national security perspective, what more needs to be done to make sure that the spread of our digital network at no point is used by our enemies to harm our national security?
There is a clear sense of mission, there is a clear sense of purpose, and there are clear objectives that we today as a nation, we are really at an inflection point, and we are growing. The world is accelerating, we are accelerating. So we understand that the underlying need to keep our system secure, but I can assure that our Prime Minister is completely focused on this mission of $1 trillion digital economy, and his government is working very hard to fulfill his goal.
The air quality index of Delhi NCR has deteriorated to a poor to severe category. There are few places in Delhi NCR which are heavily polluted.
Pakistan intruder who was shot dead at the border area. Bengaluru-bound Indigo flight catches fire during takeoff. Emergency declared at the Delhi airport.
What we would want to know is whether you believe that Elon Musk has promised to set up a new committee. You're saying that will be subject to Indian government supervision. As in, if the Twitter committee does not do its job, then the final word on this will be with the government of India.
These rules are not designed for company A or company B. It is essentially, I repeat again, our goal and our objective is to partner with every internet intermediary with the ultimate goal that the internet, where 120 crore Indians can safely come and go about the internet doing what they do. I think it's very important to understand that this is not adversarial for any platform.
The approach of the social media companies has always been to take refuge under the legal process and to say, while we
You're watching Live and Breaking here on Republic and breaking news coming in. Chief Minister of Karnataka Basavaraj Bommai clarifies on cash to journalists controversy. Bommai says he has not instructed anyone from his office to give cash to journalists. The Chief Minister calls this a toolkit of the Congress. In fact, tearing to the Congress, Basavaraj Bommai says the Congress had gifted iPhones, laptops and gold coins to journalists. Chief Minister of Karnataka replying to the gift gate controversy that has hit Karnataka, the latest controversy to hit the state. Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai tears into the Congress, asks what moral right does the Congress have, meaning to make such allegations. And he has clearly stated that this is a toolkit of the Congress and they have lied about it.
ಸುಳ್ಳನ್ನು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನಂತೂ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಸೂಚನೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ನವರು ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಹಲವಾರು ಜನ ಏನೇನು ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಭಾಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿದೆ. ನೀವೇ ಪತ್ರಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದರಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವೇ ವರದಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಅದು ಐಫೋನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಂಗಾರದ ಕಾಯಿನನ್ನೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ನೈತಿಕ ಹಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಮಾತನಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ? ಮೇಲಾಗಿ ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಲೋಕಾಯುಕ್ತ ಕೂಡ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಲೋಕಾಯುಕ್ತ ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪತ್ರಕರ್ತರು ಉಡುಗೊರೆಯನ್ನು ಇಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಸರಿಯಲ್ಲ. ನಿನ್ನೆ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ಸಿನ ವಕ್ತಾರ ಭಾಳ ಕೆಟ್ಟದಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನು ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಖಂಡಿಸ್ತೇನೆ.
ಸರ್, ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಆರೋಪ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಸರ್, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಚೇರಿಯಿಂದ ಅಂತೆ. ನೀವು ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಭಾಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ
ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡಿಸೋಂಥ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ.
ಅದರ ಈಗ ಎರಡು ವಿಷಯ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ಒಂದು, ನಾನು ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ ಈಗ ಲೋಕಾಯುಕ್ತ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಹೋಗಿದೆ, ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡಿ.
I don't know, Mr. MTB Nagaraj always is telling every time is giving some controversial statements. I will discuss with MTB Nagaraj. It is false. No, that's not. He is not told any government.
And so back-to-back reactions coming in. to Giftgate controversy. The latest is that Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has hit out at the Congress. Questions what moral right does the Congress have to make such allegations? Earlier, it was alleged that the Karnataka government had given gifts worth 2.5 lakh rupees to select journalists. Now, the Chief Minister of Karnataka has come out strongly against these statements and says that it was the Congress, in fact, when it was in power, that had gifted iPhones and laptops to journalists. So the controversy gets bigger. And Prajwal joining us. Prajwal, we're hearing the Chief Minister clarifying about the Giftgate controversy, says he has never instructed anyone to give any gifts to journalists and that a Lokayukta will be appointed or has been appointed to look into the matter.
Rukma, now, according to the latest information, a complaint has already been lodged by an anti-corruption activist against the Chief Minister's office here, seeking investigation into this entire issue, because it is not just one or two journalists, and according to sources, it is being stated that around 50 to 75 journalists have already been offered money from the CM's office. So these are allegations which have been made, but some of the prominent media institutions and media organizations, mainly regional media, has come out openly and have denounced this entire thing, and they have also appealed to Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai and his office as well, stating them not to give such costly or expensive gifts, and it is against the ethics of journalism to be accepting such gifts. But now Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has distanced himself from this entire controversy, stating that he had not instructed anybody from the office to go out and dole out such expensive gifts or else even cash for that matter, because remember that it was the Congress social media wing which brought this entire issue into focus, where they sent out a tweet where they tweeted saying that journalists have been offered 2.5 lakh rupees in cash by the Chief Minister's office, and they also named the Chief Minister's media coordinator personally. So the Congress is now questioning that if this entire thing has not come from the top command, how can the media coordinator himself take independent decisions? So all fingers are going on and pointing out to the Chief Minister's office in Karnataka. And DK Shivkumar, the KPCC president, also pointed out that the BJP has now and again been trying to poach the media, but the ethics of journalism is being upheld by journalists, because all the journalists have gone on to return the cash, is what sources are stating now. The case is in front of the Lokayukta now, and an investigation has already been ordered into this entire incident as well. But the BJP surprisingly is distancing itself, because we also saw R. Ashok, the revenue minister too, who stated that he does not know about the matter. The ITBT minister, Dr. Ashwath Narayan, also stated that it is a common notion to be giving gifts at this point of time, which contains only sweet boxes. But this time around, when we asked him that cash was given, he denied these and stated that these are baseless allegations by the Congress. And Basavaraj Bommai also pointed out that during Siddaramaia's regimes, there was laptops, iPhones and gold coins also given, and it was also caught on camera too that from the then former Chief Minister's office, all such expensive gifts were given. But that doesn't also give the BJP.
So, Giftgate controversy hits Karnataka. Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai speaking out against the allegations. As Prajwal was telling us, the allegations are made by various media institutions and organizations that nearly 100 journalists, as sources tell us, received gifts of cash amounting to 2.5 lakh rupees approximately were given to select journalists. However, the Chief Minister has denied the allegation, says he has never given any such instructions to anyone. And now he has promised that a Lokayukta will look into the matter. And other ministers also have spoken out. Let's listen in to understand more.
Only as in a Deepavali gift, probably. It's a tradition to give a gift to the people as a part of the festival. We're trying to give only the sweets and whatever as a part of the festival. It is not meant to offend anybody. It is only to celebrate the festival, that's all.
And so we have it there, saying that it could have been a gift. It is a tradition to give such gifts on Deepavali, even as the Chief Minister. In fact, the BJP distancing itself from the entire controversy. Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai saying he has never given any instructions. Meanwhile, allegations are surfacing, as Prajwal said, from various media organizations, media institutions, that about 100 select journalists received gifts worth lakhs. But now the Chief Minister has said that he will be appointing a Lokayukta to look into the matter. We go back once again to our correspondent Prajwal, who's covering the story. Prajwal, we were just listening to Ashwath Narayan, Karnataka minister, and he says that the gifts could have been given because it's a tradition to give such gifts. We'd like you to clarify on that.
Rukma, the latter part of what Dr. Ashwath Narayan speaks is also in context in this particular reaction that he's spoken to Republic, because he's again gone on to clarify that there were only sweet boxes which were given and not the cash. So he's also spoken about that in the latter part of the conversation. So this is exactly the context in which Dr. C. and Ashwath Narayan has spoken. But nevertheless, now the Chief Minister has distanced himself from this, but all points are, all fingers are clearly pointing at the Chief Minister's office, and they need to come out in the open. And if any such thing has been done, they need to come out in the open and at least issue a public apology. But Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, even today, till this date, he states that he has not instructed, because he spoke about two main things. One, that he has not instructed his office to give any sort of cash rewards. And second, he's also stated that the case is already in front of the Lokayukta, because the case has already been lodged in this particular regard, and the Lokayukta will already be looking into this entire issue. And there is already a blame game, stating that during Siddaramaia's regime, the Congress also gifted the journalists, and now during my regime, is he stating that that they have also gone on to gift? So many people are even in fact questioning the journalists and the media organization, stating that what moral rights do you have to speak about the people's issue if journalists themselves are receiving cash? But majority of the journalists have clearly come out clean in this entire matter, where they have returned all these all the expensive gifts and the cash that has been received by them. So the CM distancing himself from this is quite surprising as well as shocking, and some big allegations which are being leveled by the Congress against Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai over here. So he will have to come out in the clear too, and the entire state of Karnataka is looking, because everybody are questioning the journalists, but Mr. Basavaraj Bommai has to make sure that he comes out clean in this particular regard, and also make sure and name those journalists who have taken this cash, is what the people are also demanding over here.
Right. Our sources tell us that nearly 100 journalists received cash as gifts.
All right, Rukma. Now, from what we understand, yes, they are stating that over 100 journalists have received gifts, and mainly with those journalists who were covering the political beat and who followed the CM beat in this particular regard have gone on to receive gifts. And it is not only the journalists, but also the organizations, and mainly the editors and the editor-in-chiefs of these organizations who have gone on to receive gifts. Sources off record have already spoken
Prajwal,
to Republic,
we'll be coming back to you. Right, Prajwal, coming back to you, but let's speak now with Mr. Vivek Reddy of the BJP. Mr. Reddy, how do you react to these allegations? Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has rubbished them, saying that he has never given such order, but all fingers are pointing towards him. Nearly 100 journalists, we believe, editors, senior editors, editors-in-chief, have received nearly 2.5 lakhs in cash. The Chief Minister's defense is... well, he has distanced himself now, but all fingers are pointing at him. That's what our reporter says. Your reaction?
Well, I think it is the Chief Minister who has put at rest the issue. He has clarified that no such thing has taken place. And I don't think journalism has gone to an extent in Karnataka where journalists are out to receive gifts. All this is the fabrication of the Congress. And, whenever election comes, Madam, Congress is very adept at picking up such issues or fabricating such issues in order to malign the party. But Mr. Bommai has made it very clear. I think the Chief Minister has clearly said that Congress is prone to doing such things, and it is highly condemnable that a political party has to resort to such memes. Clearly, it is an indication that the Congress is losing out amongst people of Karnataka, and this is the strategy that they are now deploying.
Many thanks, Mr. Reddy, for speaking with Republic, and also many thanks to Prajwal as well for joining us there with those updates. So, well, sources tell us that nearly 100 journalists have received cash as gifts, while Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai now distancing himself from the entire Giftgate controversy. Moving on now to other top news stories. Breaking news now, senior government advisor Kanchan Gupta has called out Lutyens' media hypocrisy on the FIR against The Wire. He has stated, I quote, when the left lies, forges documents, manufactures #fake news on an industrial scale, slanders individuals and demeans India before the world, like The Wire has done, the vile perpetrators are innocent victims, says N. Ram, who cropped documents to peddle a fake story on Rafale. So, senior government officer calls out Lutyens' media over the controversy surrounding the false allegations of The Wire. The Wire is now under the scanner as an FIR has been lodged by Amit Malviya over fake news, forged documents that were used to support that news. And now a senior government advisor has called out Lutyens' media over the entire issue. Republic has accessed the FIR copy that shows the allegations and the charges against senior editors of The Wire. And now a senior government advisor has called out Lutyens' media over the issue.